guys. It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
That's right, every good hero needs some theme music. So, that's Tim with our line Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. I am that hero. I am standing on that wall majestically, looking down, overseeing the land of the Giants, and giving you the honest-to-God truth about this team, about the 2022 season. You may like it, you may hate it, you may not even want to listen to it, but you're going to hear it if you tune in and you open your ears and you think. I want to talk about Daniel Jones this Saturday because this whole offseason, Joe Schoen, Brian Dable have made the proclamation that we are going to be putting the pieces around Daniel Jones to make sure that he has what he needs to excel and finally show his wares in the NFL. Now, I'm looking at the Giants roster and I'm thinking about it. And I'm looking at the talent they have collected around Daniel Jones, and I'm thinking to myself, is this team more talented last year or this year? And I'm thinking to myself, did the Schoen and did the Dable do what they needed to do to put the pieces around Daniel Jones so he could excel? And I'm calling bullshit. I'm sorry. I have to call bullshit on this. And it's nothing negative against Schoen because he was working with the handicap. It's nothing negative against Dable because he's working with the handicap. You got Schoen out there today, scouting quarterbacks at the Ohio State game. It's just telling me all the actions that they have put around Daniel Jones and all the things that they have done to this roster recently. It's just showing me that Daniel Jones now, more than likely, no matter what he does, is not going to be back next season. You are devoiding this team of talent by making certain moves, and you talk about how you are going to put the pieces around Daniel Jones. Let's look at this from a football perspective. Do we truly have an NFL starting tight end in this roster? Daniel Bellinger's got a concussion. We don't know what he is. He's a rookie. And you got Tanner Hudson. I'm going to say no. Do we truly have a wide receiver core that could help Daniel Jones excel? Kenny G, I never liked the day we signed him. You have reporters coming out saying that he's running like a mannequin. I'm going to say no. Kadarius Toney, you don't know when or if he's going to be on the field or if he's more interested in his rap career. But like I said, he's hopeful that he's going to play. That's a great line. So we don't know. Sterling Shepard coming back off an Achilles. Richie James, the 5'8" wide receiver, has been in the league for 5 years. Darius Slayton. Everyone wanted to dump Darius. I had been saying since training camp, you can't dump him because he's the only true number 2 outside wide receiver that you have on this entire roster. David Sills. David Sills looks good against the Home Depoters, but he's always disappeared against NFL caliber talent when the season counts. Colin Johnson's hurt. Wan'Dale Robinson. Maybe a good pick. We don't know yet. But at 5'8", if you watched him play and the handful of snaps he played, he needs to learn to protect himself on this field or he's going to get hurt. This isn't college. This isn't Kentucky. So no, I do not think they have surrounded him with the wide receivers capable of helping him excel. The running back situation is the only situation that I think works in Daniel Jones' favor. Saquon Barkley, I think, is going to have a breakout season. I think he's going to get traded probably like around week, right before the trade deadline. You got old Matt, who I think is a good backup. Came over from the 49ers, of course. And he was somewhere else before that. You got Brightwell. Brightwell's Brightwell. Second-year player. You got Antonio Williams. Practice squad guy who has a propensity for the fumbles. So outside of Saquon Barkley, that's probably the biggest weapon that Daniel Jones has within this organization, with this team right now. Then you go to the offensive line. Some people are already putting in Phillips over at your left guard position alongside Andrew Thomas. You got Feliciano, who can't stay healthy, hasn't been healthy in 2 years, and only has 300 snaps in like 8 years at center. You got Glowinski, who we hope wasn't a systems guy, like our old buddy Nate Solder was. And you got Evan Neal, a rookie. You potentially right now have, I'm really saying 3 question marks already on this line, because I'm not saying Evan Neal is not going to be a great player. He probably is going to be, and I hope he is, and I think he will be. But he's a rookie. Everyone knows sometimes it takes rookies a little bit more time to mature. and get ready to be what they are. Look at Andrew Thomas. We're going into year 3 with Andrew Thomas, and this looks like it will be his breakout year. And then you're gonna put him on the same side with Glowinski, who we're hoping can hold up, and then Feliciano, who's good, who if we don't have Feliciano on this field, we got Jack Anderson backing him up. And same thing with Phillips. You got big old Joshua sitting there, the rookie. So if Phillips flames out, you potentially are going to have 2 rookies and two other guys who just came over from free agency on this team who may not even be an upgrade. That's not a combination for success for Daniel Jones. And I understand the cap space. I am the one person who has been talking about this cap space situation since the start of 2021 season. I am the only person that had talked about this, and I was told I didn't know anything, that I was an idiot. And then lo and behold, 2021 or 2022 rolls around and we're in cap purgatory, but I didn't know what I was talking about. And to all those people, shut up. But did they do what they needed to do to put the pieces around Daniel Jones? If you're looking at this, you have to say no. And I've said it before, I feel sorry for the kid. I don't feel sorry for the kid that I don't think he's the quarterback of the future for the New York Giants. I feel sorry for the kid that he could potentially get killed behind this offensive line. That's what you have to think about. And that's what you have to worry about in reference to Daniel Jones. It's not a slight against Daniel Jones, but he's got sometimes a little bit of the Eli Manning syndrome towards the end of Eli's career. Eli, in the beginning of his career and through the mid part of his career, could carry a team. Could not carry a team competitively for an entire season, but he could carry a team in spots and big games and when he needed to step up. But the rest of the time, especially towards the latter part of his career, he needed help. Eli Manning, that is. And Daniel Jones is that type of quarterback. For Daniel Jones to succeed and excel, he can't do everything on his own. He needs help. He needs people around him that can make him better. He doesn't make people better like Eli Manning did. And that's not a slight against Daniel Jones. He needs people around him. And did the Giants do, if you talk about the Giants doing them dirty the last 3 years, it's continued into year 4. All I'm going to say is Thomas, Phillips, Feliciano, Glowinski, Neal. And then you have your starting wide receivers as Kenny G, Tony, and Bellinger as your tight end. That's spawn, sane, and pray for rain. We're not looking at a powerhouse offense. We are looking at an offensive line that could potentially get wrecked against a heavy interior pass rush. And like I said, Feliciano it hasn't been healthy in 2 years. So how is that going to help? If you've ever watched Daniel Jones truly play, when he gets hit and he gets wrecked, he kind of goes into a shell. He kind of goes into a bubble. He kind of does a Tom Brady, like the Giants did to Tom Brady, those 2 Super Bowls. You hit him and you hit him repeatedly, he starts losing his confidence. And then he tries to do too much. And then he starts fumbling. Then he starts throwing interceptions. But you can't sit there and tell me this organization did him a favor by putting the talent they did around him. And I understand the cap situation, blah, 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 blah. I've been the one talking about that for 1.5 years now. When the chickens come home to roost, no one wants to sit there and say, you know what, Tim, you were right. No, I have to hear what an asshole I am for 1.5 years. And then when it finally happens, I have to hear people tell me, well, you're going back on what you said. No, I never go back on anything I say. But you can't tell me that Schoen and Dable put the pieces around Daniel Jones to excel. I'm gonna tell you this. I think they did the opposite. And like I said, that's why I keep telling you, I feel bad some ways I feel bad for Daniel Jones. I'm always going to root for Daniel Jones because he's the quarterback of the Giants. I don't care what people think. They say that I'm a hater because I dislike Daniel Jones because I don't dislike Daniel Jones because he's the quarterback of the Giants. And I've said it a million times. We win more games with him than we win without him. But the problem is everyone knows with the moves that this team has been making, with the roster this team is building right now, and the lack of quality NFL talent throughout the 53-man, Daniel Jones is not going to be back next year. When they released Blake Martinez and they got rid of Logan Ryan, they got rid of James Bradbury, and they're going to try to probably dump Kadarius Toney and Kenny G next year, and they're going to move on from other guys. It just tells me that they are just cleaning house. They are just getting rid of guys that do not fit their system, which is fine because you know what? If you're running the system, you want to have the players that fit your system. I get that. I 100% get that. But I am tired of hearing Joe Schoen and some point and Brian Dable telling me that they've done everything. They're putting the pieces around Daniel Jones to make him successful. I have to beg to differ. I think anything, you're doing him dirty like the other franchises did. Like, I'm going to root for Daniel Jones either way. If you think I like him, you think I hate him, I'm going to root for him either way. I even told people I'm probably on the 18th, the home opener, I'm probably going to even wear a Daniel Jones jersey to show support and solidarity, because I feel bad for the kid that this is the situation and this is the hand that he was dealt by this organization, even though all they talk about is what they're doing to put the team around him to make him a better quarterback. I love what Joe Schoen said on Thursday, because I didn't see it completely, and I laughed because I had a lot of people that were bashing me again on Thursday because I was like, "You're changing your mind about the team." No, I'm not changing my mind about the team. Everything I said was true on Thursday. But even the general manager came out and said everything that I said. Joe Schoen came out on expectations for the season. We are just trying to get through today. The situation we're in is the situation, is the hand we are dealt. We're going to do the best that we can. But what makes me laugh about this situation is we're $42 million over the cap. 28 of it, almost 30 of it, was created by Joe Schoen and his moves. That's all I'm going to say. The situation we're in was created by Schoen. Almost 30 million of the 42 was created by Schoen, because he's trying to preserve the cap space for next year. And he talks about that clearly. And I love about how when Shane talks about how when he first got to Buffalo, we had $55 billion in dead cap space to manage. Here's the problem. That year, the Buffalo Bills won 7-9 with a rookie quarterback. The year before that, they made the playoffs. The year after that season, that 7-9 season, they went to the playoffs again because they had Josh Allen. There wasn't the heavy lifting that had to be done, that has to be done right now with the Giants. So I don't want to hear that as well. And the fact that you are going out and scouting Bryce Young the first week, a week before the NFL season starts, tells me that you're not sold on Daniel Jones. And that's fine, like I said, and that's fine. And they're never going to come out and say, we're moving on from Daniel Jones this season. They're never going to come out. They are never going to come out and say that. And I get that, because you always want to have coach and GM speak. And I like the honesty with Shane a lot of times, because like I said, we're just talking about the season expectation. He's just saying we're just trying to get through today. And that's the way this season's going to be. One injury is going to wreck this team because we don't have the cap space. They're going to have to be some restructured. He's going to have to eat into some of that cap space that he has been so preciously saving for 2023. He's going to have to. But don't sit there and tell me you've done everything you could to put a better quality product around Daniel Jones to make him succeed. And like I said, I'm rooting for the kid. I got to root for Daniel Jones because of the fact that A, he's the Giant quarterback, and B, I just don't think they did what they needed to do for him to make him successful. And I feel bad because I still don't think Daniel Jones has the talent to be a starting NFL quarterback for an extended period of time. But I also think if you're going to try to teach him and try him to allow him to get better, you need to do things to make him better. In drafting a 5'8" wide receiver when there was actually plenty of bigger and stronger wide receivers in the draft that could have replaced Darius Slayton, which we could have moved on from that cap space, would have made more sense. I'm just saying, listen, I've said it before, and you can believe me or not, and you can listen to whoever else you want to listen to, but the honeymoon is starting to crack for for Joe Schoen right now. Because when you weaken your roster repeatedly and replace them with non-NFL talent, it's going to get dicey. And you sit there and you preached for 8 months that you're going to do the best you can do to put Daniel Jones in position to win, and you do these things, it just makes me pause. And I've said this before, I am a season ticket holder now. Again, I got my season ticket holders. And I knew this was going to be a bad season. I said that a million times. But I also want to have some type of product on the field. And a subscriber said it yesterday. You know what I want? You don't have to win. I just want a competitive team, not a team that just shows up. And right now, I think we're putting a team on the field right now who is just going to show up. Kind of like we did the last 8 games of last year. But like I said, let's give Daniel Jones all we can give him this year because he's going to need it. He's gonna need our support. He is gonna need the broad shoulders of Online Big Blue to lean on. Daniel Jones, I am offering these shoulders to you because, kid, you're gonna need it. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for the situation you're in. I don't feel bad for the first 3 years because, like I said, I think your talent is what it is. But if you are looking for a fair shake, if you're looking for a fair shot, the 2020 season for the New York Giants isn't going to be it. I hope you can rise to the top. Because you're the cream of the crop. We have to wait and just see. We got a lot of fun videos coming out next week. We got a lot of surprises coming out next week. And I got a new podcast coming out as well called Get Off My Lawn. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. We'll be talking about sports and everything else. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue. We'll bring you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you subscribe, if you can ring that bell, I think it means that'd be awesome.